welcome to 4 Idiots React. This is Zahra from Iran. Salam to Sayadis.
Hey guys, this is Sufyan from India. Namaste, Wanakam, Sasriyakal, Salam.
Hi guys, this is Daniel from Kazakhstan. Добро пожаловать, друзья!
Khushamadid, this is Anam from Pakistan, and today we're back with a very
With
good
another
video.
one.
Back at it again.
Yes.
With Geography Now India reaction, because this was really highly requested by you guys, and
Highly is an understatement.
yeah, highly is an understatement, and many people commented, please react on Geography Now India, Pakistan, Iran, so we might do those later, but first we want to react to Geography Now India.
Yes.
So guys, are you
And-
excited?
And
Yes.
the video is by Geography Now, so a shout out to them as well for
Yeah.
Shout out to
Shout
you. In this case, I can say shout out to you, men, because he's a man.
Yes.
I mean, his
Oh.
gender, he's a male, you know.
How do you know that?
Because I watched a few of his videos before.
Oh no, he's in the
okay.
video, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay,
right.
nice. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Okay, so
So
Okay,
guys,
let's
let's
go.
get into it.
So, we have finally encroached upon the giant India. Some of you have been waiting a long time for this episode. I'm just gonna say straight up, you all know India is incredibly complex and diverse. Even Indians have trouble understanding their own country. Obviously, I won't be able to scratch even the surface in this episode, but I'll try my best. A lot of you Indian geography peeps have helped me along the way, so thank you, and without further ado, let's begin. It's time to learn geography now! Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbie. This place doesn't even need much of an introduction. Everybody has heard of India. It's big, it's loud, it's colorful, and most importantly, it has a plethora of confusing territorial
Plethora? What's
anomalies that I
plethora?
just can't wait to
A lot,
cover. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
There's an old saying, India is a place where everyone is in a hurry, but no one is ever on time. First of all, India is located in
Let's go
South
traffic.
Asia, right on the Indian and Arabian Seas and the Bay of Bengal, bordered by 6 other countries, so close to 7, but that land bridge between Sri Lanka got wiped away like 600 years ago by a cyclone. India is divided into 29 states and 7 union territories, with the capital New Delhi, which acts as its own administrative unit, located in the capital territory. Keep in mind, New Delhi is actually just the name of one of the districts in the capital territory, made up of 11. The largest city, however, is actually Mumbai, with New Delhi, Bangalore, or Bengaluru, and Hyderabad following after. However, the 4 busiest airports are Delhi Indira Gandhi International, Mumbai's Chhatrapati Shivaji International, Bengaluru's Kempe Gowda International, and Chennai International in the south. You know why I'm smiling. This is my favorite part of any episode we ever make. Territorial anomaly time. India is loaded with strange borders and deliciously complex demarcation lines. First of all, what exactly is a union territory? In the simplest way I can put this, union territories are places that are too distinct to be incorporated into a state, but too small to have their own local governments. The first one, of course, is the Delhi National Capital Territory, where the capital lies. Chandigarh is a post-independent city constructed to replace Lahore as the capital of the Punjab area after it was split up between India and Pakistan. Then you have the island territories, the smallest one, Lakshadweep, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Andaman Islands being home to one of the last uncontacted people groups on the planet, the Sentinelese
Oh,
tribe, who have
damn.
been hostile to visitors and are therefore left alone, as well as the Nicobar Islands, which actually used to be a short-lived colony of Denmark. Finally, the 3 remaining territories are former European colony towns and ports. Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, which are separated by about 200 kilometers across the Gulf of Khambat, and the most confusing union territory, the French-speaking Puducherry, which is actually split into
French-speaking
4 district
territory.
cities across India: Karikal, Mahe, Yanaon, and Pondicherry. Pondicherry is strange because it has 11 enclaves within the Tamil Nadu state. Oh, and in this area, you can also find that experimental hippie-ish commune with a little bit of controversy. Look it up. Oh, and don't forget, here, the eastern states, also known as the Seven Sisters, are connected by this incredibly narrow 27-kilometer wide pathway known as the Siliguri Corridor. This pathway is like a crucial artery that completes the India puzzle, or so you would think. Now let's discuss the juicy stuff. Now, in the China episode, I already talked about the disputed areas with India, such as Aksai Chin and Arunachal Pradesh, the latter pretty much just belonging to India as it's almost completely inhabited and operated by Indians. So let's move to the other disputes. Now, as of 2015, the Bangladesh episode is already outdated, as India and Bangladesh have finally come to an agreement over the frighteningly complex former enclave-exclave dispute. In the end, India only lost about 40 square kilometers of land to Bangladesh, and now only a few enclaves and exclaves exist. Now let's head north. Now, when you try to draw the shape of India, you might want to be careful which depiction you use. Some might use this picture, some might use this, some might use this, and those that don't really study very well might use this. The point is, the whole area is like the most heavily militarized, diplomatically stressed out region on the planet. It's already had like 4 wars in the past half century. Basically, India, Pakistan, and to some extent China all want the entire area for themselves, although it's more of like a Pakistan-India thing. In the China episode, we already discussed the Chinese disputes with India, so I won't cover those in this episode. If you want to learn more, just watch the China episode. But anyway, this entire area was was a former domain known as the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir that was under royal Maharaja rulers all the way up until independence. Currently, this place is split up by this fenced-off militarized line known as the line of control between India and Pakistan. Why is this?
Like a
Well, the
border
quickest
thing?
way I can put this,
Okay, the British are out. You get to take your land.
no, we want to be an independent princely state.
We're supposed to take your land, and majority of your people are Muslim, just like us. Even though
I
your
like
ruler
this
is Hindu as
roleplay.
well.
Yeah.
Hey, India? Yeah. If you help me, I'll let you secede my territory to your land with autonomy.
Okay.
Deal.
Oh my god.
Now, I love how Mike played India.
Is that what really happened?
Oh, keep in mind, Pakistan's capital, Islamabad, is less than 80
Spanked him.
kilometers away from the backdrop.
Peter, that's literally
Meanders
the
through
disaster.
until it stops at a point called NJ9842. This is where things get really crazy because from there you hit the Siachen Glacier, the second longest non-polar
Siachen.
glacier in the world, and this is pretty much the dead man zone. After point NJ9842, you hit the actual ground position line, a series of military outposts that extend all the way to the Chinese border. That means everything in this area is ground zero for the Indo-Pak tension. And you know, the crazy thing is there's actually literally small towns of normal, regular civilians living in these areas high up in the mountains, many of which
The
just
air
go
must
about
be
daily
so
life, going to
fresh.
work and raising their families. Otherwise, they have a river dispute with Nepal and various river islands disputed with Bangladesh. Outside of all the dispute stuff though, India not only has the world's second largest road network and 3 of the world's top 10 megacities and their own space program, but they also have a copious abundance of landmarks and notable sites, way too many to list, but some of the ones that you guys, the Indian geography peeps, have told me to mention include places like the abandoned Danush Kodi Ghost City, Golconda Fort, the 4 pillars of Charminar, the Ajanta Buddhist art caves, the Ellora monolithic ruins, Mandu Fortress, the Golden Temple, which feeds over 100,000 people a day, the Gol Gumbaz Mausoleum, the
100,000
Kalavanti
people a
Durham
day.
Post,
That's-
the ruins of
that's
Hampi,
for
the hill forts of Rajasthan,
wow.
Shatrujaya
Yeah.
Hill,
This is
which is
amazing.
basically like a mecca
Sufyan,
for
did you
Jains,
visit?
the Temple of the Bodhi
Yes.
Tree, Jal Mahal, Vanguard Fort, the most haunted
Where's
place
Taj
in
Mahal?
I've been there.
Mahabharata.
as well.
What the
Mahabharata.
heck?
That's
Just
in
like
Rajasthan
China,
as
you
well.
can find the
I've been
Great
there as
Wall
well.
of India in
yeah.
Rajsamand. There's also the Paritala Anjaneya Temple with the largest statue in India depicting Hanuman, and at over 150 acres, the Sri Rangan Ataswamy Temple, the largest Hindu
Look
temple
at this
in the
temple.
world. Oh yeah, and there's also that building with the
Yeah,
stuff on
here
the
we
thing
go.
and whatever. Anyway, we could go on for
Taj
centuries
Mahal.
talking about
He's
India's
in-
rich constructed domicile, but what it lies on top of is even more fascinating. Now, don't make this mistake.
I'm going to India. All I need are my
I
sandals and
love this
sunscreen.
video. It's so.
Now, as the 7th largest country in land area, India has a wide range of landscapes, climates, and
Okay.
elevations that all contrast from one corner to the other. First of all, let's talk about the north. India sits on the Indian tectonic plate that essentially smashed into the Eurasian plate, which in return created the largest mountain range in the world, the Himalayas. The force is so strong that it's estimated that the Himalayas grow about 2.4 inches or
Mount
6.1
Everest.
centimeters every year. There's also where you can find Kanchenjunga, the tallest mountain in India, or the 3rd in the world, right on the border of Nepal. Keep your eye on these mountains. These are pretty much the source of most of India's major rivers that give life to the whole country. That's why India takes these mountains so seriously. You can also find the largest natural lake, Wular, up in the Jammu Kashmir area. Below the Himalayas, you reach the North Indian River Plain, sometimes referred to as the Indus Ganga. This is the most fertile part of India where the most important rivers like the Ganges and its
Is this in
tributaries
Varanasi?
flow. Heading a
Yeah.
little south, you reach the
It's
Satpura and
Varanasi,
Vindhya
right?
ranges that pretty
Ganga
much
River.
divide North
Yeah,
India
so
from
Ganga
south.
River is
On
a
each
holy
side, you
river
get the
as
well.
West and East
And
Ghat
Varanasi
Mountains,
is
which in
the
return
I watched
creates
the
this
video on
massive
that.
triangle thing called the Deccan Plateau.
Varanasi
This place
is
is
the
moderately
holiest
forest,
site
especially in the east, in the Chotra
India,
Nagpur
right?
Plateau,
Holy
where you get a section of the swampy Sundarbans that they
Sacred
share with
site.
Bangladesh. Check out the Bangladesh episode. Head a little west and you get the dry Thar Desert along the border with Pakistan, as well as the Rann of Kutch, known as the Salt Desert. And finally, the only active volcanic area would be the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, with Barren Island having actual conical eruptions and Bharatan having tame mud volcanoes. Now here's the thing, although India has a relatively high population density, they do relatively well with maintaining their ecological footing. In fact, in
Okay.
2016, they beat a world record by planting, disputably, 50 million trees in one day. They've also agreed to reforest about 12% of their country by 2030. The most heavily forested area being the 7 sister states in East India. Now, one of the factors that contributes to this would be the fact that India has the lowest meat consumption in the world with the highest population percentage of
Makes sense.
vegetarians.
Yeah,
around
it's
50%, most of whom are lacto-vegetarians that consume milk products.
But
By the way,
I
in
think that's
India,
the
when
lowest.
buying groceries, this label means vegetarian and this one means not vegetarian.
No.
Nonetheless, the remainder of the
Okay,
population
green
does
and red.
typically eat some
Nice to
kind
know.
of animal protein, mostly in the forms of seafood or chicken, but almost never beef or pork unless if you are part of the Muslim or Christian minorities scattered throughout the west and east areas. Now, let's talk about the role of cattle, shall we? India has more cattle and livestock than anywhere else in the world at around 330 million. And it's interesting because since they have prevalent Hindu traditions, the killing of cows is illegal in many of the states except for
Yeah,
a
we
few,
know
and
that.
each state has varying degrees of punishment
know
for committing
something.
intentional cow slaughter. Keyword intentional. Cows accidentally get hit by cars all the time. Once a cow is too old to produce milk, it typically is released into the open to die naturally in the wild,
that's why it
ideally.
works on the streets
Nonetheless,
and
male
stuff.
cattle get it much worse, as they are deemed as kind of useless, Some places use them as draft animals for labor. Some religious sects use them as sacrifices. But otherwise, they're typically sold to the underground market for beef or hides. To this day, there are about 6 times as many female cows as male cattle in India. So that means, yeah, something's happening to the males. Nonetheless, India does have the 3rd highest carbon emission rate after China and the US, 4th if you consider the EU. However, emission per capita, they rank pretty low at only about 2 kilotons per person. Contrast that with Qatar at about 40. There are 94 national parks, 501 animal sanctuaries across the country where you can find some of the national animals like the peacock, the Ganges River dolphin, the king cobra, the Indian elephant, and the highest population of Bengal tigers in the world, which are all highly protected. India also has the most irrigated land in the world, which allows them to become the #1 producer of multiple products like millet, bananas, lemons, limes, mangoes, ginger, chickpeas, milk, butter, fennel, jute, and about 75% of the world's spices alone come from India. Speaking of which, food! Typically you can find the staples roti, chapati, and naan in the north, and idli and dosa in the south, and everybody eats rice. The more commonly commercialized Indian foods that we in the West grew up knowing, like samosas, tikka masala, tandooris, and my favorite Indian dish, palak paneer.
What is this?
We ate paneer today, right?
Took spinach and made
I
it
didn't.
fat. I love you guys. Otherwise, the West is mostly known for their chutneys and pickled food.
Okay, we'll stop on the West.
Okay.
So we are making 2 parts for this video,
Very
otherwise
good.
it's going to be very long.
And we're getting too hungry, so after
Yeah.
you know,
So we'll just
some
have
those
some paneer and
meals,
come back and react to the second part.
We have to
No,
recharge.
the spice
Paneer
part.
is a good form of protein as well. Very
Yes,
good form,
oh,
very
yeah,
good form of
paneer
protein
is
actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good.
So we'll come back with the. Did you want to say something?
With the
I
bang.
wanted to say something about the spices. Like that's why British came and ruled over India, because the spice they were selling spices, right? Because he just talked about spices and how many different spices are growing in India. So that's what came to my mind. Yeah.
So we'll come back to you with the second part.
Come to you in a short break.
Bye. Bye.